Is it the law of sines or is it the law of cosines? So we know that big A is 17. And then I know that little b is 20. And I know little c is 11. So what should I use? Is this a law of sines or a law of cosine? What do you think? I don't know. If I didn't move anything, it would still be there. I didn't move anything. So what would it be? Law of sines or law of cosines? Law of sines. Do we have a pair? Wait, did you say sines or cosine? Cosine. Yep, it will be law of cosine. So we're going to start off by finding little a. In order to solve the triangle, so we're going to use the law of cosines. We need to find little a. I need to find angle B. And I need to find angle C. So when I'm looking for little a in the law of cosines, I would set it up a squared equals the other two sides so that's what I would have. And because I'm trying to find a side, you can actually type this in your calculator in one step. So I would have that a is equal to the square root of, and then I have my two sides, which would be 11 squared and 20 squared, minus 2 times those two sides, and then cosine of 17. So go ahead, type that in your calculator, round it out to the thousands place. So did you get 10.011? Raise your hand if that's what you got. All right, so we figured out that little a is 10.011. So now we need to figure out what we want to find next. We want to find big B or big C. I always go alphabetical order, so I'm going to find B because that comes before C. So if I'm setting it up to find big B, I have to rearrange my law of cosines so that it begins with little b. So the way I'm going to set it up would be b squared equals the other two sides minus 2, and then I'm going to end it with the cosine of b. So we got b squared, which is 20. That equals the other two sides, so the one we just found, 10.011 squared plus c squared minus 2 times 10.011, 11, and we're ending with the cosine of angle B. So remember from yesterday, we said whenever you're solving for the law of cosine, we have to break it up. You have to figure out what that number is, and then you need to figure out what that number is, because we can't just type this in the calculator. We got to do a little bit of work. So we did a few of these yesterday. I'm actually going to freeze my screen, and I want you all to finish it out. I want you to find angle B and angle C, and then we'll come back together and you can compare your answers. Okay. Who has B and C? Who's still working? All right, keep working. All right, what about now? Who has their answers? All right, anybody still working? All right, let's go ahead and compare. So for big B, after I solved it, I had the 400, and then I got this was 221.22, and that's 220.242. I didn't show my work, but the first thing I did was I subtracted this from 400. That's how I got the 178.78. And then make sure when you're dividing that you don't drop that negative. I'm dividing it by negative 220.242. So angle B is the inverse cosine of that fraction. And I got 144.267 degrees. Raise your hand if you agree. You're close. All right, good. And then lastly, you could do law of cosines again to find big C. However, the easier way to do it would be to use the triangle sum theory. Take 180 minus 17 minus 144.267, and that would be my third angle. So I decided to move back the skills check so we can actually finish chapter 8 today. So we're finishing chapter 8 today. You all have your study guide. The answer key should be posted on Canvas. I'll have somebody verify that, but I'm pretty sure I already put it up. Yes. No, it's okay. Wait, say that one more time. So in order to do law of cosines, you need to know, so for the law of cosines, it has to be a side angle side or a side side side. So either you have to know two sides and the angle in the middle, or you have to know all three sides.
And that's for cosine?
Law of cosines. Remember that for the law of sines, you have to have a pair. That's how you know you can use that. So if you know big A, little a, or big B, little b, big C, little c, then you can use the law of sines. Good question. Any other questions before we wrap it up? So our last homework is over area. So 8.4, area of a triangle is pretty short. Hi, oh, thank you. It's pretty short. There's 7 questions. That homework is due next Tuesday. Now remember, in your tests, you don't get any formulas. So you have to know the law of cosines formula, which I feel like you all are kind of catching on, the law of sines, SOHCAHTOA, and then area. So I'm going to give you about 3 or 4 minutes to copy down these formulas. We have 3 formulas. If it's a right triangle, we do area equals 1/2 base times height. If it's side angle side, so if I know big A, and then I know little b and little c, that's when I can use this formula, side angle side formula, and that would be 1/2 BC sine of A. And the last one is Heron's. That's what you use when you know all the sides and you don't know any angles. So again, I'll give you a few minutes to copy that down, and we'll come back together and we'll finish it out. And then when you have it written down, just put your pencil down. That way I'll know you're done copying down our formulas. All right, we all got it? I don't see anybody still writing. Anybody need more time? All right, let's go. So we have a triangle and we know all three sides. If you know all three sides, you can find the area using the Heron's formula. First thing you have to do is find the semi-perimeter. Semi-perimeter means half of the perimeter. So figure out what 4 plus 5 plus 7 is and divide that by 2. So what did you get? What is 4 plus 5 plus 7 divided by 2? 8. Who got 8? All right. So then, again, you don't get this formula, so you need to start memorizing them. Area is going to equal, and we're going to take 8, and then we're going to take that 8. I'm going to make 3 parentheses and put the 8 in all 3. And then what I'm going to do is subtract each side. So in the first parentheses, I'm going to subtract the 4. In the second parentheses, I'm subtracting the 5. And in the third one, I'm subtracting the 7. And this whole thing is in under a square root. Go ahead and type that in your calculator. Remember, when we're talking about area, we should have a unit squared. So your calculator could say 4 root 6, or it could give it to you as a decimal. Either one would be fine. Go ahead and do example 2 on your own. Find the area. Example 2, you're finding the area. The 3 sides are 4, 3, and 6. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and show my answer. And you all tell me if you agree. Is that what you got? It is? All right, good. All right, so now when we look at example 3, we don't have all 3 sides. So we have to go about it a little differently. So what we're going to do in example 3 is use the sine area formula. Because I know, so I'm going to and you don't have to draw it out, but I'm going to draw it out real quick. I know that I have 80 degrees for my big A. Then I know little b is 1, little c is 3. So you see how this is called, this is a side angle side. I know 2 sides and the angle in the middle. So according to the formula that you wrote down, it would be 1/2, multiply those 3 sides, end it with the sine of the angle, which is 80 degrees. Go ahead and type that in your calculator. So when I did it, I got 1.477. Anybody else get that? Any questions about it? 8.4 is pretty easy. Nothing hard about it. All right, go ahead and do example 4 on your own. Go to the next page. Let's do example 4. Again, you do not have to draw out the diagram. Now, 30 is actually on our unit circle. And I don't know if anybody remembers what the sine of 30 is. It's 1/2, which is why you don't get a decimal for this one, because we actually have an angle that falls on our unit circle. All right, what do you think we're going to use for example 5? If I know all 3 sides, what am I using? Herons. Go ahead and do it. We get a lot of practice with herons today. I think the more you practice with the formula, so when you're doing your homework and you're, hopefully doing the study guide, because as we calculated yesterday, tests are 80%. That's the category you need to bring up if you're worried about your grade. So my recommendation is when you're doing your test review, try to see if you can, you should start memorizing the formulas then. All right, so for example 5, who got 8.182 unit squares? Pretty easy, right? Any questions? Okay, example 6 is a composite shape, which means we have two shapes put together. We have a triangle and we have a rectangle. So in order to find the area, we have to find each one individually. So let's start off with the triangle. My triangle is 12, 12, and then what's the bottom of my triangle? 17. Go ahead and find the area using Heron's. And I think I got a decimal when I worked it out last year, so I just rounded it to 72. It must have been like 71.99 something. So I just rounded it to 72 for our triangle. And then we also have a rectangle. Who remembers the formula for area of a rectangle? Length times the width. So you're going to take that 8.5 times 17 with your calculator. And I did not mean to put units because we know it's inches, so I can actually put inches squared. Let me fix my unit for the area of that triangle. It's inches squared. So for my rectangle, you should get 144.5 inches squared. Is that what you all got? So what am I going to do with these two numbers to find the total? Add them. The total will be the 72 plus the 144.5, which gives me a total area of the home plate of 216.5 inches squared. All right, I'm going to give you a couple minutes to do number 7 on your own. Last page, let's finish it out. So we got Elena, and I forgot that I changed mine from last year. Last year I did 4, 6, and 3, but I realized they were the same. So I think I changed yours to 20, 20, and 15, right? Okay. So 20, 20, 15. Go ahead and find the area of her garden. So we got a 20, 20, and a 15. How many of you all think you have the Heron's memorized? See, it's quick. And I think your paper also says rounded to the 10th place. At least that's what my 5th period said. So I didn't change mine. I need to change my slide for next year to match the notes. All right, who has the answer? All right, who had my answer? And I'm gonna be honest, I did not do it. I trusted 5th period to do it because my notes were wrong. Did you get 27.5 for S? Yeah. Okay, so then we have to take 27.5. Oh, I wrote it wrong. One of these should be a 15. But I never typed it in the calculator though. So we got that here, here, and here. So let me test it out because you all, let me not trust the children. Hold on. Let me type it in. So we got 27.5 parentheses 27.5 minus 20 squared because that's twice. And then I got 27.5 minus 15. And yeah, I got 139.1. Y'all was making me feel like that was wrong. That's what I got. We agree? All right, last one, y'all. We're finishing up chapter 8. So we got a garden. That garden is being built in your neighborhood. The garden will be triangular and a fence will surround the garden. So 2 sides of the garden is 33 and 24. The angle between those sides measures 62. So I'm going to go ahead and draw this out. So I have my garden. And I have a 62 here. And then I have a 33. And we have a 24. So finding the area is simple. Because we can use our sine area formula. So if you have 2 sides and included in it and a included area, we just take 1/2 times our 2 sides and then the sine of 62 degrees. So go ahead, type that in and see what you get. And I got 3,349.647 feet squared. Who got that for the area? All right, who remembers, how do you find the perimeter? You got to add up all the sides. Do we know all the sides, though? No, we don't know. We don't know. I'm sorry, what'd you say? I can...
It says 2 sides of the garden will be 33.
Yeah, it does.
2 sides of the garden will be 33 and 24 feet.
Oh, I already has 2 sides of 3.
Okay. Right. So we don't know all 3 sides. So we need to find this. I'm gonna call this X. Does anybody know, in chapter 8, we learned how to find X. How would I find X? Is this a SOHCAHTOA type situation? Is this a law of sines type of situation? Is it a law of cosines type of situation? How do I find X? Because I need to find that side. Any ideas?
Would it be cosine?
Law of cosines. So to find X, so I have to find the third side first. So that would be X equals the two sides that we know minus 2 times those two sides multiplied by the cosine of 62. So I'm going to kind of skip a step because that's really X squared. But to find X, we would just type that whole thing in under a square root. So who got that last side is about 30.354 feet. Now I know all three sides. So my perimeter is going to be the sum of all three sides. So I have the 33 plus the 24 plus 30.354. And that is the end of chapter 8.